Hello everybody. So today we start with a new chapter in biology of standard 10th, that is chemical coordination in plants. So this chapter is I would say a slightly a new chapter in your syllabus because this was introduced just last year. So it was the last year was the last two last year. Sorry, last year was the first year when this particular chapter was introduced in your syllabus. So that's why you have to be very careful when you are solving the questions related to the previous board paper questions. You will find that this chapter, the questions from these chapters will be available only in the last 2 years of the papers. Otherwise, you will not get this particular questions anywhere. So that's why be sure that when you are solving the papers that you have taken into consideration that there will be very few number of questions based on this particular chapter. Okay, so about chemical coordination in plants. So this is the last chapter in the section of botany in your syllabus. So we have already done the absorption, transpiration, photosynthesis, and this final chapter over here is chemical coordination in plants. Talking about chemical coordinations, we very well know chemical coordination means the kind of the enzyme or the kind of the hormones which are produced by the plants in their body so as to grow in a particular manner, and accordingly there is a movement of the plant with respect to the earth or with respect to the light or with respect to water. So that movement which we see in the plant is the is basically dependent on some or the other stimulus what it is going to achieve. So in this chapter we are going to have into two sections. This chapter is divided into two parts. One is the part of the different enzymes which the plant is going to produce in its body for its growth and its development, and the other section is the different kinds of movements that the plant is going to show depending upon the different stimulus which it gets. So these are the two parts of the chapter what we are seeing here. So that is what is about chemical coordination, or we can say the plant hormones. So they are basically plant hormones what we are going to speak about in this particular chapter. So firstly, what are plant hormones? Movement of the body parts are common in animals, but in plants, movement are seen in the form of bending, twisting, and elongation of certain parts. So you'll always find that in our body the movement of the part is very easily seen. You can see my hands moving and my mouth moving and everything moving. So that is easily understood. But the plant movement, you cannot directly see the movement of the plant. The plant movement we need to observe it. Like for example, if I keep a plant in the dark area and there is a window on one side, you will find that the plant is growing in that direction. So you will find that the growth is much more on the window side rather than going on the other side or going straight up. So that is how you see that the plant is always going to be growing in a bending movement or a twisting movement like that of the creepers, or even the movement again along the certain kind of a chemical like water or maybe the ground. So the difference in the movement of plants and animals is due to the different modes of nutrition. Plants synthesize their own food while animals depend on plants for their food, directly or indirectly. Hence, bodily movements in plants is not needed while it is essential in animals. It's very simple. Why would the plant not move? See, we are moving because we need to search for food. We need to go for food. So that's why we are not self-produced. Our food is not self-produced by ourselves. We depend on other substances for food, and that's the reason when we are dependent on something on food, we need to move. We need to move from one place to another place. Whereas the plant, it does not need any kind of movement because it is producing its own food, and the roots are going to take the soil water from the soil and the minerals. So accordingly, it does not need any kind of a drastic movement which can be easily seen. So that's why we see that the bodily movements of the plants are not needed while it is essential in animals. The principle that every action has a reaction applies to plants too. Okay, So that the third law of motion, that is every action is an equal and opposite reaction, that particular the principle is also applicable to plants. So here the action is caused by changes in external as well as internal factors of the plant. So the external and the internal factors of the plant are going to cause what we will say it as action and reaction. So there will be some action by the plant based on the reaction there will be some kind of reaction by the plant based on the action which is going to be created by some particular thing. So that's why so here the action is caused by the changes in the external as well as internal factor of the plant. Such action are called as stimuli, and the reaction to stimuli is called as response. So that is something which is the stimulus. The stimulus is the one which is going to generate a kind of effect in the plant body, and that effect what is generated in the plant body is called as the response. So that's why in plants there is a movement which is called as the response towards the stimuli which is given to the plant. So that is about the plant stimuli and response. One sec. Yeah, so we continue. Plants do not need a fast response to small changes in their immediate environment, but they do need to respond to light, gravity, and seasonal changes. They also need to coordinate growth of the cells in various parts of the plant body. So plant doesn't need to be like a immediate response. Let's say हम लोग यहाँ पे अगर मच्छर आएगा तो immediately you are going to do like this. In the moment of the something touches you, you just try to shake it off. So or you are standing somewhere and a nail is pricked to you, then you are just going to remove your hand. Such kind of the response to the stimuli is not required in plants. Plants doesn't need to give any such kind of a immediate response, but it does need to give response towards the light, towards the gravity, towards the water. That responses are needed for the plant, and this requires the plant to grow in a manner that the cell growth should be done in a particular manner based on those responses. And that's why we see that they coordinate, there is a coordinate growth of the cells in various part of the plant body. Though plants do not appear to have a nervous system or sense organs, their sensitivity and coordination is a result of chemical control exercised by plant hormones. So yeah, the plants do not have a nervous system, or they do not have a like spinal cord and the coordination ke liye uske paas pura nerve systems and all. No, they don't have that thing, but still they have got a chemical coordination. They have got certain enzymes and hormones being produced which are going to maintain or which are going to be helping in the sensitivity and coordination of the growth of the plant. Plants respond to stimuli by producing chemical compounds called hormones that work as messengers. So of course, as usual, the plants are going to have the hormones which are going to be acting as messengers which are going to activate the growth of the plant in a certain manner. These compounds are similar to the hormones found in animals. They are produced in one area of the plant, transported around the body of the plant, and have their effects at a location far away from the site of their production. So as in our body also, the hormones are produced at locations, but it is going to be traveled through the blood to the different target organs. Similarly, in plants also, the production of the hormones are going to be taking place at different locations, but they are going to be affecting a target organ. So the target organ, so here also they are going to be such that they are going to affect the growth of the plant at a particular location which is far away from where the plant hormones are produced. The main way in which plant responds to these hormones is by growth. So normally, whenever you see a stimulus whenever any stimulus is given to the plant is going to respond to it only by means of growth. Light hai, so it is growing in the direction of the light, again growth. Roots growing towards the water, again growth taking place. the tendrils of the creepers are going to creep, and they are going to get tied up to things. Again, the growth of the tendrils is there. So everywhere, in most of the cases, whatever is the stimulus, the response is very much connected to the growth of of a particular cell or the particular part of the plant. So in some cases, growth is stimulated, while in others it is inhibited. Yes, there is a condition wherein they will not allow the growth to take place. So that's why in certain cases, like the conditions are not suitable for the plant to grow, in that case, or it will, the seeds are going to remain dormant, and hence it is inhibiting the growth of the plant. So in this way, there will be both the possibilities. There will be normally the growth taking place, or else it is inhibiting the growth of that particular part of the plant. So sometimes one side of the plant grows more than the other, which results in the bending of the roots or shoots in the response to the particular stimulus. The main areas of growth, that is cell division in plants, are the meristems. So we very well know that the meristematic tissues are the one which are going to be the growth area. So the growth cells are going to be situated in the meristem, that is the meristematic tissues. You know, these areas occur just behind the tips of the shoot and root. These meristems are sensitive to hormones. The hormones help to stretch the cellulose walls of the meristem cells to facilitate division. So this particular hormones, they are going to be attacking, or they are going to be stimulating the meristematic tissues present in the plants. Now these meristematic tissues are present in the tips of the roots and the shoots. So root and shoot का जो tips है वहाँ पे meristematic tissues, and these tissues are going to be you can say messenger from, that is the hormones are going to be activating those areas, so that they are going to have cell division in those areas in a particular manner. So the growth is going to be inhibited at one point and will be made to move in another direction depending upon the production of the hormone which is going to be there. Plants respond to a variety of stimuli. They are sensitive to light. Plants respond to a direction from which light comes. The intensity of the light and the intensity of the light and the length of the daily exposure to it. They are also sensitive to water, temperature, gravity, etc. So normally the first thing what the plant is going to be dependent on, or it is going to be affected, or the stimulus which will be the most important stimulus for the plant, will be light. Plant will always grow towards the light. So the growth of the plant towards the light is one of the very important response to the stimuli. And apart from that, there is also the growth of the sensitive to water, temperature and gravity. So yeah, there will be growth in the plant with respect to the water, gravity and temperature. Different parts of the same plant can react differently to the same stimulus. For example, shoots grow towards the light, but the roots go away from it. So you can see the light is the stimulus, but this stimulus is going to give you two different responses in the two different parts of the plant body. The upper part, the shoot system, will always grow towards it, whereas the root system will always go away from it. So that's why it will always be seen that the stimulus may not be producing the same kind of a response by other different parts of the plants. The chemical factors responsible for the plant growth are called hormones. The term hormone was first used by William Bayliss and Ernest Sterling in 1902. The term phytohormone, that is phyto means plants, was coined to distinguish them from animal hormones. Let us study some of the hormones in detail. So yeah, this was, now we are going to study the different hormones which are present in the plant body. First one is auxin. So first hormone, so plant hormones. The first one is auxin. Okay, it's auxins, not required. The term auxin was first coined by F.W. Wendt in 1928 from the Greek word auxin, which means to grow. So yeah, we can easily make out that auxin, if it is in Greek meaning to grow, that means the auxin hormone will be the one which is responsible for the growth of the plant. Auxins are powerful growth stimulants and are quite effective at extremely low concentration. So auxins are a stimulant which are going to give the growth to the plant. It is going to be the most important kind of a stimulus which will help the growth of the plant, and moreover they are so strong that even a small concentration of auxin present in the plant body will enable it to grow in a very good manner. So that's why the auxins are very effective, because they are effective even at a very low concentration. Auxins are universally distributed in higher plants as well as in lower plants like algae, fungi, etc. In higher plants, they are present more in actively growing regions like shoot apex, root apex, lateral meristem, etc. IAA, that is indole 3-acetic acid, is the main natural auxin found in plants. So, yeah, normally these auxins will be found in the meristem of the plants, that is in the tips of the roots, tips of the shoot, and the cross-sectional area, increasing the cambium layer of the plant, that is the stem. So these are the three areas: the root of the lateral meristem, the root apex, and the shoot apex, where the auxins will be present. And IAA, that is indole 3-acetic acid, is one of the common or main natural auxin present in the plants. Auxin promote growth in plants by cell elongation. So what auxin does is it is going to elongate the cell, and by elongating the cell it is causing the plant growth to take place. During the process, cell wall is extensively increased. This hormone induces cell wall loosening or relaxing. Plant cells walls get stretched like a rubber when put under tension. Rate of cell elongation is proportional to the auxin concentration. So we see that the cell is going to get enlarged, it is going to be stretched like a rubber band, like a rubber string, and the rate at which this elongation takes place is exactly the same as what is the concentration of the concentration of the auxin present in the plant. So rate of growth and rate of availability of the auxin is similar. Rate of cell elongation is proportional to the auxin concentration. Stem cell elongation requires more auxin in comparison to roots. Flowers require still higher concentration of auxin. Auxin also delays the falling of leaves. So the stem requires more amount of auxin as compared to the leaves and other parts. The flower contains much more amount of auxin as compared to others, and auxins are basically also helping in delaying the falling of the leaves. So it is going to remain alive. The leaf is going to remain in the on the plant for a longer period of time if the auxin content in the plant is higher. So they will never become, when we say that the falling of the leaves takes place. So if auxin level are higher, then the fall of leaf falling does not take place that properly. Too much. Auxins play another important role in plants known as apical dominance. Now, this is a very important kind of a thing over here that is called as apical dominance. Apical means the one is the apex, that is the terminal bud, and dominance means that the first thing to grow will be the apical term, or the terminal bud or the terminal branch over there. So, auxins play another important role in plant known as apical dominance. In majority of vascular plants, apical bud dominates over lateral buds. So if there is a bud which is at the lateral point and one is the apical point, normally the apical bud will be the one to grow first rather than the lateral bud. So that's why the height of the tree normally goes much faster rather than the spread of that particular plant. You always see when you plant a tree or plant, sorry, not tree of course, when you plant a small plant in your house, you will find that the height of the plant will grow much faster than its width. It will take time to become wide enough, but it will be easy for it to grow by length because of the apical dominance. in the plant. So apical bud dominates over lateral bud. The growth of the lateral bud occurs only after the removal of the apical bud. After the apical bud is removed, that is, it is being bud, only then the lateral buds are going to be. This phenomena of the suppression of the growth of the lateral bud by apical bud is called apical dominance. Auxin can induce fruit formation without fertilization in the fruits like apple, tomato, banana, etc. Such development of fruits without fertilization is called as parenthrocarpy, and the fruits are called as parenthrocarpic fruits. See, you must have seen many times that if you take an apple and you take the seeds of the apple and sow it into the ground, do you get an apple tree? No, you don't get an apple tree. Why is that so? Because of the auxins, the auxin has a capacity that it could convert, it could generate fruits even without the fertilization. Normally, where would the fruit be possible? We know that when fertilization takes place or pollination takes place in the flower, then the ovary of that flower is going to get converted into a fruit, and then the fruit is going to develop. But if the fertilization has never taken place, how will the fruit be formed? So normally the fruit should not be formed because there is no seed to be protected. The fruit is basically the protection for the baby, the zygote. But here, if the zygote is not being formed at all, there is no need of the fruit. But the auxins are the one which causes the fruit to grow even if the seed is not fertilized. And that is why we call it as parenthrocarpy. This kind of a system, this kind of thing where the fruit is grown even without the fertilization of the seed is called as parenthrocarpy. And such a fruits are called as parenthrocarpic fruits such as apple, banana, tomato, etc. Okay, so that is about parenthrocarpy. So we see that auxins give you two things. One is apical dominance, okay, and second one is parenthrocarpic fruit. So auxin, if you see the table which is given over here, so auxins are site of synthesis will be synthesized primarily in root, shoot, apical meristem and young leaves. So the synthesis or the production of the auxin is going to take place in the shoot, apical meristem and in the young leaves. And the function is to promote cell elongation, suppress the growth of lateral buds, delay in fall of leaves, and induce formation of parenthrocarpic fruits. So these are the four main functions of the auxins. We now move to the next kind of a hormone that is called as gibberellins. Gibberellins. Okay, that is gibberellins. One sec. Right. So gibberellins. Gibberellins are another kind of plant hormones. There are different forms of gibberellins reported from different plants. So you will see the gibberellins are not just one single kind of a gibberellin, but it is multiple kinds of gibberellins. They are numbered as GA1, GA2, GA3, GA4 and so on. So however, gibberellic acid GA3 is more studied form. So normally the one which is studied the maximum is gibberellin 4, the 3, that is GA3. In higher plants, gibberellins are mainly distributed in meristem region like stem apex, root apex, buds, seeds, etc. Their main function is to promote the growth of internodes by cell elongation. So here again it is the one which is going to be present only in the meristem, that is the apex of the shoot system, root system and on the part of the stem. So they are the main function is to elongate the internodes of the internodes of the cell elongation is taking place. The main function is to promote the growth of internodes, so cell elongation, promote fruit growth, break seed dormancy and initiate germination. So whenever the seed is initially in a dormant condition, so once the favorable conditions are available to it, then the removing the seed from its dormant state and allowing it to initiate the germination process to take place is done with the help of gibberellins. So they are the one, they also delay senescence. Senescence is aging. the aging of the plant is going to take place with things. So if gibberellins are present, they delay the senescence of the plant, and like auxin, gibberellins are also capable of inducing parenthrocarpy. So yeah, the gibberellins also can produce parenthrocarpy, same as auxins. Gibberellins are plant hormones which are widely used in horticulture and food industries. These hormones enhance longitudinal growth of internodes in dwarf plants. So in dwarf plants, the longitudinal growth of the dwarf plants, that is height of the dwarf plants, is going to be increased with the help of gibberellins. So that's why it is a plant hormone which is used by lots of horticultures and agriculturists and food industries. They are used commercially to increase the length of grapes, elongate apples, and improve their shape. Gibberellic acid is used to speed up the malting process in brewing industry. So you can see that gibberellins are something which are also being used in case of industries. The agriculture industry use it to increase the size of the grapes, to increase the shape and the size, or elongate the apples, and also in the brewing industry for increase the malting process. So speed up the malting process, you are having this particular gibberellins which are there. So we see that the synthesis of gibberellins takes place, synthesized primarily in the meristem of apical bud and root. So this is what is there in the table. So that is, gibberellins are synthesized primarily in the meristem of apical buds and roots, and function is to help in stem elongation. So first thing is stem elongation. Second, break dormancy of the seed. So break dormancy of the seed and bud, uska dormancy ko todna hai, that is sleeping pattern is lost and it is starting to germinate. It delays senescence, it delays aging, senescence, it's aging, and finally induces parenthrocarpy. So these are the four functions of gibberellins. Okay, so this was the second hormone, that was gibberellins. Now we move on to the third hormone, that is cytokines, but in the next video.